I'm Steve Gilman, and this is Brand Story, where we help you build stronger, more sustainable brands by sharing insightful conversations with brand leaders, marketers, and professional storytellers. My guests today are William Mellis and Eric Markgraf, founders of the Jupiter Festival.
Curiosity is what keeps me going in the world. And I would just say that if you're curious about things, come to Jupiter.
Yeah, I would second that. I think, I would encourage anybody who's involved in content, whether it's from, I create it, I sell it, I leverage it, I use it to get my message across, just come with an open mind. Yeah. And just be prepared to absorb because you're going to enjoy it.
William is the CEO and founder of the Jupiter Festival, and over a career spanning more than 30 years, he's helped build and scale world-class events, including Cannes Lion and Money 2020, and also holding leadership roles with Sky and Alvarez and Marsal. And Eric is Chief Creative and Content Officer and co-founder of the Jupiter Festival. Eric is a multiple Emmy and Cannes Lion Award winner whose career includes leadership roles at Fox Sports, Nike, Sky Italia, and the Spark 44. Guys, together you've launched the Jupiter Festival. It's really exciting. I think our audience is going to really want to hear a lot about it. It's a new global gathering in Miami. I'm excited to talk to you guys about it. Welcome to Brand Story.
Thanks for having us, Steve. This is really a privilege for us to be hanging out with you. I'm in London. William's in Switzerland, and we're here for you, mate.
Man, it's definitely an international episode today. So I'm excited for you guys. The more I learn about the Jupiter Festival, the more excited I get. And honestly, I think it's going to be a really special thing. And I know like a lot of people hear, okay, these guys are very impressive gentlemen but they're launching a brand new festival. And I think people think immediately that sounds incredibly risky and very hard to do. So can you guys speak to like, why are the two of you doing this? What motivated this?
Well, Steve, I think we start by it's going to be a lot of fun. So let's start
absolutely.
And look, I was with Essential, which is a brand that ran Money 2020 and Cannes Lions, and part of that role was assessing different markets, and we were looking for an acquisition to buy another event of similar stature to Cannes Lions and Money 2020. And to be frank, we couldn't find one. We had to go at a couple, but and we were looking at different industries. And naturally, media, entertainment, sport is in my background. We looked at a couple of trade shows in the space, but there's nothing that brings the leadership together. And so there's a gap in the market. So you always start with, is there a gap? Is there a need? I fundamentally believe, our focus is all about the future of content, video content.
Yeah.
There is seismic change going on in our industry at the moment, massive disruption. And therefore there's a real need to bring the industry together to debate, learn, figure out what to do, form, relationships, build networks of people that you can collaborate with. And so in my mind, it was absolutely ripe to launch the festival.
And have fun, as you said, William, have fun putting it together. I mean, who doesn't want to plan an event in Miami, Steve, in October for the people around the world? I mean, that's the fun thing we get to do is just bring people together. But as William said, the most important thing is there was a gap in the market in terms of timing as well. You have a lot of big, events around the world, and we just thought October would be a good time to do this. And, the good thing about being veterans in this business is that a lot of people that you can call up and say, hey, we got this crazy idea, and let's see if we can make it fly.
Yeah, I think you guys are well on your way to an extraordinary festival because, having dove into what you're doing and looking at the speakers you already have lined up and the sponsors, it's going to be a big deal. I mean, it is. Not only is it filling a gap, I think when I look at it, it looks like it's designed to have conversations that just weren't happening. And I think that you all have designed that really well. Was that really part of your intention?
Absolutely, Steve. So look, I talk to the team, and our objectives are three very simple ones. I want delegates who come to go away with three new ideas or maybe ideas that they'd kind of thought about but hadn't really engaged with properly, but things that they go, oh my God, I hadn't thought of it that way, or I hadn't seen that, or if I don't do this, if I don't think this way, I'm going to lose out. So if they go away with 3 from the content will be edgy, super edgy, great speakers, but being pushed to actually, create the debate and force thinking. Then the next thing is, look, the whole event is designed for networking from start to finish. Everything in the event is structured, designed, and laid out to create networking. People will go away with 30 to 40 conversations, meetings they've had. Wow. And I want them to have six people they want to follow up with, where they go, that was really interesting. We need to do something together. Now, it might not be a buyer seller model. It might be, I want to learn from you. I want to collaborate with you. Let's talk about things we could do together. And then look, I want them to have a good time. I want them to have fun. So that, executives are taking 3 days out of their busy schedule. Yeah. And yes, it's work, but hey, we can do work and have fun at the same time.
Well, you picked a good location for that. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah. And we don't want, one of the big things, Steve, when we were, concepting this whole thing, was that we don't want them overwhelmed. I've been to a lot of things in my career, festivals, conventions, where you just don't know where to go. And there's so many content sessions that you end up missing everything in a sense. We're very into quality over quantity. We don't want to overwhelm. We really, as William said, we really want them to take time to talk. We want this to be an enjoyable experience. We want to create sort of a high-end, thing like Buffett did in Idaho, for our group, in a sense like that. And I don't think anything's ever been done like that before. We're not trying to make this the biggest thing in the world in terms of people. We want it to be very structured and not very structured, to be very loose, and to have people be able to walk around and learn and have fun. And I think that's one of the big things that when we were designing this, we thought about. And it's really coming from our own experiences. And the one thing that William did, and I don't want to steal his thunder, the actual floor plan is different than anything you've seen at a convention, in a sense. And the people who actually designed the floor plan were the people who designed the Cirque du Soleil event.
Man, that's
so
great.
We have sort of theaters in the not theater, but people walk. It's all circles, and so there's not these alleyways. It really helps people meet each other in a sense.
Well, that's fascinating and very, very forward looking as far as how conferences and events and festivals like this are usually done. I can tell you guys are not like vendor focused. It isn't all about selling or being sold to, and the way you're setting it up is really about connection and conversation.
Yeah, I think that's so important. Look, it's not a trade show. A trade show is a cattle mark, right?
Yeah.
And most people come away from there regretting having spent time, right? So
we've all been there.
We've all been there, and then look, I done a net promoter score. Most of your audience will know that. Yeah. We'll be shooting for a net promoter score in the 40s to 50s. Whereas most trade shows get a minus number. So
yeah, they do.
This is super focused on delegates. Yes, we will have exhibitors and sponsors there, and they're important, but they're important. One, because we want them to show to the industry some unique stuff. So we'll be trying to get exhibitors and sponsors who've got something to say to the industry. Yeah, and it'll be. I mean, most of the delegates there will be decision makers and budget holders, which isn't what you see in most other events, and therefore, and the environment is conducive for conversations. If you're having a good time, and you're enjoying a beer in the evening, with some good food and some nice music, you're going to be open to a better conversation than if you're standing in a booth, right?
Yeah.
Trying to get away from a salesperson. So I deliberately do that so that the environment is conducive for business and networking. Yeah.
And we've always said that we want it to be a natural progression from the lens to the screen is kind of way we're looking at this, from sponsors to talks to everything. So people can see the progression. We actually talked about, do we lay it out that way as well? So whether it's camera manufacturers, whether it's people who actually produce the content. The other thing that we are doing that's a lot different, we really want an international presence. But instead of finding companies from around the world, we actually focused on international film commissions. We
Yeah,
wanted,
I've
because we
noticed
don't
that.
think they're represented enough, and they don't really have that access to the US and the US brands. And while people are trying to learn how to do different new content, why can't they go to other countries and produce? Content is getting cheaper and cheaper, but people don't really know where to go to do that. So we're trying to bring all these independent film commissions to Jupiter, so the brands can talk to them and they can actually show off, where people could film. So we're really looking at a completely different way to bring people together.
Yeah, I think your all's vision for the festival is really unique. I mean, one of the things I noticed as I was going through it is it really does feel like it's about the future of content. And that is, I can't think of any other festival that is built that way. And I think it's something that it's urgent in a way. For a lot of brands, the future of content is where they're going to live, and they might not be there yet. And this is a great place for them to really dig in.
Well, it's really about controlling their own narrative. A lot of brands, you look at certain things that, F1 movie, the
Yeah.
Lego movie, the Barbie movie, stuff like that. In this day and age, and in teaching students last couple of years at USC in marketing, brands can be destroyed by you not controlling their own narrative. People can control your narrative. The brands need to take it back over, do their own content. Why put a product in a movie? Why not create the movie or create the content? It's really about, taking your own IP and really extending that beyond what they thought was possible. And so that's the real exciting thing. And as William said, we're on a seismic shift on where to go. And a lot of people, and William, you can pick up on this, a lot of people say the industry is getting worse, but no, that's not the case. I mean, the facts about the money, William, is that it's growing, right?
Yeah, look, if you look at I have these conversations all the time, and depending on where you sit in the industry, you can say, oh, I'm in decline or it's terrible. No, right. The industry is growing. I mean, if you take the wide definition of entertainment and media and sport, the industry is growing at 6% CAGR, right? It is there. If you take a global view, there are more people connecting to content every day. 2 billion people still don't have access to the internet. Let's be quite clear. That is increasing, and the world will get to a point where everybody has access. In most countries, not all, most countries, the amount of content getting consumed every day is increasing. So the eyeballs are increasing, the number of people are increasing, the amount of money is increasing. Now, what's actually happening is the industry is fragmenting, right? The power is moving from what used to be traditionally in content, the movies and the studios and the distributors, the networks. The power with the digital platforms is moving to the consumer, right? They choose what they're going to watch, when they're going to watch it, where they're going to watch it, yeah? And their influence, okay, the big digital platforms, algorithms have got a big thing to say, but a lot of it is recommendations and social media, and it's based upon what they like. So they're in control, yeah? So, you've got that going. I mean, you just look at the production costs are crashing. AI, who knows where AI will be by October when we've got the festival.
Yeah.
But you've got that going on. You've got the industry going, vertical. You're seeing people driving towards platforms. You're seeing Fox just taking Roku, right? So, there are massive moves going on in the industry as people are trying to figure out how to win. In amongst all of that, the brands are so important. I'll articulate and say, I used to be a CMO as well. So, it used to be easy. I made a 30-second commercial, I bought some airtime, and I pumped it out over linear. Yeah. Now I'm going back a few years. That model, I can't get reach anymore because the industry's fragmented. So I then tried to do a blend, and I tried to do, and look, digital, ads, you've got to try and get your message across in 5 seconds, because most people, right, or a large number are not watching more than 5 seconds.
Yeah.
and you're getting charged for the full ad, right? Because that's how the algorithms work. So you sit there and you go, this advertising industry.
There has to be another way. There has to be a way. Yes. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you are in media and you're in brand, you're an agency or you're a brand owner or whatever, I would really say you've got to look at content. You've got to embed into content, right? And that the industry is ripe for that because there's so much pressure on financing content. Brands now can finance content. Yeah. And so you're seeing collaborations come all the time where brands are stepping in and realizing, do you know what? If I want to get, my message across, I want to build my brand. I want to share what and get it embedded in the consumer. How better than if they're watching, I don't care if it's 5 minutes, 30 minutes, 3-hour movie, right? The consumer is engaged with the content.
Well, look at how the financing of Hollywood. I mean, obviously 3 weeks ago, Hollywood changed with the movie Obsession and the Backrooms. I mean, you got to look. Backrooms was made for $750,000, or no, Obsession was $750,000, and then look at they're shaking up. People are realizing I can do that. The way to film stuff, it's not as hard anymore. Content can come from anywhere. It's brands figuring out how to do that now and taking that leap forward and trying it, and so that's what, to the point everybody to come together and talk about that and figure out what is the next step.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of change that needs to be discussed, especially with the type of people that are going to come to the Jupiter Festival, because, I think a lot of brands still think of it as just distribution.
Yes.
And they don't think of it as being embedded from the IP point of view, where they own the media and they're in the cultural conversation. And I think that is definitely where it's going. And I'm excited about your festival because I think it's overdue. I think it's something that brands, especially right now, really need to be discussing.
We can't wait for you to come down there, Steve, and do some of your podcasts from down there and talk to all the people.
Oh man, I'm excited. I'm there. Like I think, I mean, I looked at your speaker list alone, and like every single one of them is like a dream guest of mine. Forget everybody else that's going to be there. So yeah, it's going to be really fun.
And we're just getting started. We're getting more and more speakers. Yeah. So
yeah, I mean, for anyone listening, like we're gonna put the link to the Jupiter Festival and look hard at the speaker list and also what's going on at the festival and how it's been designed, because it is truly unique. This is unlike anything I've been to, and I've been to so many that, like a lot of people, I'm bored with the same old thing. And I think what you guys are doing is really original. And one of the things that I think is really cool is that before you create a festival like this, you all are creating a brand. And I love that you picked Jupiter. And I love what you're doing. What's the belief behind it? I mean, because I do think, it's fun, really fun here to be on the precipice of the first one. But I have a feeling we're going to be talking about the 5th and 6th and 10th someday, I hope. It'd be so much fun to have you guys back on. Yeah, I do too. So what was the belief behind founding this? And I love that you picked Jupiter. What's behind all that?
So Jupiter, look, you have to pick a name, don't you? So, I mean,
right.
And if you're going to have a brand, you need to figure it out. And so we did a few brainstorming sessions. And I mean, I think Jupiter was one that I came up with, and I was searching. And then you start to look at, what does Jupiter stand for? It's the planet of gods. So that kind of seems a bit appropriate for
that's cool.
Some of the people who might be coming. But fundamentally, it's the planet of knowledge and growth. Right.
Yep.
So it is aligned, the kind of ethos of, and it goes back to Greek mythology and all sorts, but the concept that this is about knowledge and it's about growth just sat so perfectly with what we're about. Yeah. And I thought, and how could it say, hey, I'm going to Jupiter?
Yeah, right.
I mean, that's conversation worthy of, that's
and
just
it's all and we talked about uncharted territory.
Yeah.
Exploration of Jupiter's uncharted territory. And, when you asked a point where, we're going to be in Miami, I think for 3 years. And we might go somewhere else, or we might do some of these around the world. We don't know yet, but we want it to grow and we want it to keep going. And we think that, content will always be there. Content is always going to be king.
Yeah.
And we don't know what that will look like in maybe 3 or 4 years, but there's got to be, who knows how people will be creating it, but there will always be a place that people need to go to learn how to create it. And we'll never run out of different ways that content will be digested by consumers around the world.
Yeah, I think it's really exciting, and I just am in love with the name you all picked, because I think Jupiter has this very aspirational feeling, and it feels, to put it very simply, big. Feels like something big is going to happen, and I love that, and I think the emotions that you all want associated with Jupiter of curiosity and exploration and real conversation, I think are really unique for festivals like this. So, kudos to you guys for doing something actually different, not just repackaging the same old thing and calling it different.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate that. Thanks, Steve. Yeah.
Sure.
Yes, Steve, we are building a brand.
Yeah,
Jupiter
for sure.
is going to be a brand, and I want it to be, this is our first year, and we'll start and we'll grow next year, and we'll grow the year after, and you're right, 5 years from now I want it to be the place you have to go if you're doing anything with content. You cannot afford not to be at Jupiter, right? Because you're going to miss out. So that's our aspiration, and Eric and I worked very hard to begin with to figure out, how does the brand manifest itself, what are the value, all the stuff that you would expect around brand architecture that we've worked on, and I'm really pleased with the way it's showing up, throughout everything, every touch point that we have. Our brand is really important. And we're very, very passionate.
We're big on brand building. We've been lucky enough to work for companies in our careers that the brand is really all you have, in a sense, and the companies that survive have a brand positioning. They have a mission statement. They are a brand. You can never bastardize the brand. The brand is what a company is. And so, that was, to William's credit, that's, when we sat down, he really talked about what we stood for. And so it's exciting that we are being able to, convey it to other people.
Yeah. And getting to talk to you all, a couple of times, I can feel like the commitment to staying on course with the values that you've decided are the most important for Jupiter. And I think, there's a lot of people that do events or festivals that it becomes just about promoting the festival and having the festival be successful. It isn't really about having the brand be genuine and experiential. And I think that's something that I really sense is different about this. And you can kind of tell by the speaker list, by the people who've committed to come and speak. They are not the usual suspects. You guys have some really heavy hitters and some really original angles that you're taking. And it's an exciting thing. I think people are going to see this and want to be there because of how different it is. So it's
exciting to have, we've known both William. I've known Jay Goodman for a long time, who has been on the forefront of branded entertainment forever.
Yeah.
And, Evan Shapiro, who's been talking about the media universe forever. And to, Neil Waller, who's content creation. A lot of these guys, whether it be, Ross Martin at Known, all these guys are kind of trendsetters, and they've always sort of bucked the system in a sense. Even looking at, Wendy McMahon, who was at CBS and Paramount, and, all these people were people that did stuff. They were pioneers and mavericks, and that's kind of the theme of what we are. The future of content, we need pioneers and we need mavericks in order to change things.
Yeah, I looked at the list, and I had Ross Martin on the podcast for that very reason. Is he's like the most positive disruptor, and known as my favorite independent agency, and their work just isn't the usual thing. The way that they do IP and brand entertainment is, I really think, the future. I think they're just early. So having him and some of the other people you named, I think are, one of the through lines I saw with what people experience when they come to Jupiter is that they are going to get a really original, very cutting edge point of view on what content really can be. There's a ton of opportunity here.
it can manifest us in one of our speakers, Carlo Nozeda, is the group CEO of Ballack Wonder Studios, and they just put on all the opening ceremonies for the World Cup and the Milan Olympics. But content can be live content. It can be it could be content that's filmed that they put on. So there's so many. How do people communicate with each other now? And so content is just, they're finding new ways to bring emotion to people. Content's always been about, can you instill emotion and create an emotional connection to consumers? And that's always sort of driven my career and Williams as well. And we've been able to work with brands where, like at Nike was all about, creating emotion for people. So
that's what works. That's how we are built as human
beings. We're all
beings.
human. That's how we're raised. Yeah, that's how we are instinctively.
When you have something that people feel, that's how that's the engine, and that's how it grows and how it is going to succeed. So if someone's listening right now and, maybe they work in marketing or media or sports, maybe we have a lot of decision makers that listen in, maybe they're in content creation and maybe they're going to be a decision maker someday and that's their aspiration. Maybe they're not there. When they're wondering, okay, I'm listening to this and is Jupiter for me though? Can I go? What do you guys say to them? The people who aren't, you're going to have a ton of decision makers there, and you're going to have and people are going to be making relationships and, forming the beginnings of deals and things are going to be happening. But for that tier of people who are aspiring to that, what do you say to them?
Well, look, the festival is open to everyone. We're not elitist. I mean, there's a price point which encourages, more senior people, but my experience would be that about a third of the people will be C-suite. Yeah.
Yeah.
And a third will be VPs, and a third will be the VPs and C-suite of tomorrow.
Right.
So,
that's perfect.
We want to encourage. I mean, we think it's because it's all about learning. We want the young creators. We want people who are disrupting. We want them to be able to be exposed to this. We want them to come in and then they could have a conversation that changes everybody's mind.
Yeah.
I mean, great ideas come from anywhere. And I've always believed that it doesn't have to come from the top down. It comes from the bottom up as well. So we welcome everybody. We want to be a place where people come and learn. So I say to anybody listening, it's going to be amazing exposure to a lot of great conversations about where the future of content is going. And if you are involved in it, or you want to be involved in it, or you love it, it's the place to be, to learn and be on the ground. And it's the first time. So, there is kind of it's an open canvas in a sense. They can help create the next one in a sense. So
and
that's
Steve,
the beauty of it.
We do have a early in career ticket. Yeah. So there's we want blood. We want young blood there. We want we want the leaders of the future to be part of this. Yeah. Because they will challenge and push the incumbents. Yep. Yeah. So, that's all part of it, is to create a massive kind of just this environment where stuff gets stimulated. Yeah. Where debate takes place and discussions take place and people, it'd be great to see people having heated debates about this, as not just the, same old. And look, we'll be designing our, even the panels have to be edgy, so like I said, I mean, I'm super excited that we're going to create something for the industry that I think is just needed. It's just needed. It's kind of,
Yeah, looking at the way that you all have structured the ticketing and the cost of it, I think it's very friendly to not only leaders, but to people who are aspiring leaders. And, when I was looking at it, I was picturing young creatives being there because just to be around these conversations, if you have an opinion about content, or if you're curious or you're trying to grow in the field of content, man, you want to be at Jupiter. I mean, it's going to be really cool. So let me ask you just two final questions. You guys are working hard on this. It's coming together beautifully. I think it's going to be an amazing event in October in Miami. If you're done and you've gotten through your first one, what outcome would make you the most proud?
I mean, William says the 369. I want to hear I want people to say, I can't wait for next year. Yeah. I mean, that to me sums up everything, is that it is on my calendar now. and I can't wait to come back and learn more. I mean, that to me would be brilliant.
Yeah, and look, for people to have come and then post on social media that they had a great time, and just to repeat exactly what we said, I learned something, I met people that I want to follow up with, and boy, did I have some fun. And if that is if that is what we get known for, and we start to build, a destination for the industry, um, that's what success looks like. Yeah, we're here for years to come. Yeah, not for this once.
I'll tell you, it's exciting stuff. So last question isn't exactly a question, but I just want, it's such a pleasure to have you guys here. And I'm really excited about the Jupiter Festival in October. And we'll have tons of resources that people can find out more about it on your episode page. And we'll be spreading this all over social media. But the one thing I wanted to just make sure I do is that, there's so many angles to come at this from. I just want to give you guys a second. Like, the floor is yours for the last question. And you guys is there anything I missed? Is there anything you want to make sure people know?
I and thank you, Steve. Thank you again for believing in it and having us today.
Absolutely.
I think, the last thing I would kind of say to people is that, don't be afraid to learn new things in a sense. I think sometimes, and I was a CMO sometimes, and sometimes, you get in your, I felt this sometimes you were like, I got it all figured out. I got it all figured out. And the times where I've had the most fun is when I say to myself, you really don't have it all figured out. You want to learn, and curiosity is what keeps me going in the world. And I would just say that if you're curious about things, come to Jupiter. And that's kind of what I would say to people.
Yeah, I would second that. I think, I would encourage anybody who's involved in content, whether it's through from, I create it, I sell it, I leverage it, I use it to get my message across. I'm a brand, I'm a marketeer, I'm a chief content officer. Just come with an open mind. Yeah. And just be prepared to absorb, because you're going to enjoy it. Yeah. I promise you're going to enjoy it. And then you'll go away fulfilling what we're laid out to do, which is, new ideas, new people to get to do business with, and come back next year.
Those are great ending notes, you guys. And honestly, I'm super excited and looking forward to it. I've been working in content and brand marketing for years and years. So I think that anyone listening in that is either, in the industry exactly positioned in content or just ancillary to it, that's really curious about where it's going, needs to consider this one. And I think you all are well on your way to some great success with this. I think it's going to be amazing. So thank you so much for stopping by the podcast. I'm so excited I got to talk to you both, and I'm looking forward to doing it more and in person.
Can't wait to meet you in person, Steve, and good luck, and thank you very much.
Want to hear more inspiring stories? Subscribe on your preferred podcast app so you don't miss an episode. And if you like what we're doing, please rate, review, and share. It's the best way to support us. Thank you for listening to Brand Story.